Hi everyone. Before I start, I'd like to ask you all to look upwards. How many light points do you see? Do this later today when you're walking around the conference, when you go back to your hotel room, when you're walking through the city. We live under a dense mesh of artificial light points. There is no other product which is so ubiquitously spread over all the places where we work, we live, we travel, and we relax. Not only that, lighting is big. Lighting is really big. We estimate that there are 50 billion artificial light points currently installed in the world. 7 per person. There isn't really another product we talk about when we talk about the Internet of Things which has that number of points. And what's more, the time is now to act to capture these points as more than just dumb points that give light. The technology of lighting is in the process of being changed over. The old technologies are being replaced with new technologies, which are much more long-lasting. So we expect 14 billion of these light points to be replaced over the next year. If we don't transform those and capture the potential value they can have now, those will be locked out for the next 20 years or so because the new technology is so much more long-lasting. Lighting has always had one basic value it offers to people, and that's illumination. It helps people to see. But actually, these strategically placed light points could offer much more value than just illumination. We actually think every single one of these light points is a point which could sense the world around them. It's a point which could be personalized to the needs of the day or the hour. And it's a point which can act as a service, a platform for offering more value than just providing the light. Now let's look at street lighting. Every city is full of streetlights. They're all around us. Every street corner, every road is covered in them. And there are a lot of them. But the technology there typically is old, it's inefficient, and it's dumb. As Philips, we see a tremendous opportunity to transform cities into more energy-efficient places while also offering them more value. Cities today are growing. The population is growing, and most of that growth is happening inside cities. This poses a new set of challenges for these cities. They have to reinvent themselves, they have to grow, and they have to do that in an efficient, sustainable way. As a city grows, new urban areas will have to be built. Old areas will have to be renewed. And the landscape of the city will get increasingly complex with more people and more traffic sharing that place. In short, we believe the world is going to need more light. All of this needs to be done in an energy-efficient way, not just because sustainability is a mega trend, but also because energy-efficient lighting pays for itself. Within only a few years, these projects can actually pay for themselves because while today in most cities, lighting is 50% of the energy costs, just moving to LED can reduce that by 40%. And we can go even beyond that by making these points smarter. We estimate that by combining LED lighting with software, controls, and sensing, we can reduce our energy to 70% of what's being used now. And what's more, by making these products connected with sensors, we can make that information available back to the municipalities. We can use this lighting as a platform to roll out additional sensing information while giving then the cities the ability to use these points to sense, to be personalized, and as a platform to roll more out. we think the world needs more digital light to be able to get this value. So let's zoom in on one particular project. Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a city which we recently started converting towards the latest cloud-based lighting control technology. Los Angeles actually has the most streetlights of any city in the world. It has 7,500 miles of streetlights. And a few years ago, they actually were one of the leading cities in converting those to LED. They have over 130,000 LED streetlights, more than 70% of the total in the city. But for them, having LED wasn't enough. They needed more energy efficiency, they needed more flexibility, and they needed a better way to track, report on, and measure the investment they'd made in this energy-efficient infrastructure. To do that, they came to Philips, and we teamed up to transform the LED lighting they had in their city into assets which could be tracked, managed, monitored, overridden remotely from the cloud. But they wanted to do that while protecting the investment they'd already made. So specifically for Los Angeles, we developed this product. This we call a CityTouch connector node. Now, what these nodes do is they can actually connect to an existing LED fixture of any manufacturer and convert it into a cloud-connected, cloud-controllable asset. These simply plug in to the existing fixtures, they geolocate themselves with GPS, and they phone home using the existing cellular data network that your mobile phones use. This is real plug-and-play technology. Installation takes minutes rather than hours. There's no need for cities to roll out expensive, complex, dedicated city area networks, which sometimes take months or years. It's a cell phone that you plug into a luminaire, and it makes the products connected and controllable. So let's have a look what you can do with CityTouch. This is a map of Washington, D.C. Now, we had a chat with the mayor there, and they weren't too happy with me actually live controlling the city on stage. So we're going to have to make do with this mocked-up simulation of it. But what you see here is actually the map of all of the connected streetlights in the city. Every time you plug in one of these connector nodes or one of our integrated luminaires, which is how we normally sell this, it automatically pops up on this grid. They're commissioned in the factory, they geolocate themselves, they connect themselves to the data network and come back, so it's plug and play, up they pop on this thing. You click on any individual one, and you get special information about that specific product. Each of these now is an individual thing with its own information about its maintenance history, own information about faults. And since each of these points has an IP address, it has a geolocation, if something is going wrong, if it needs maintenance, it can phone home and provide exactly what needs to be maintained, monitored, exactly where it is. And that makes the maintenance for the city much, much easier and cheaper. Previously, how we were maintaining these city networks, these lights, was people driving around with trucks looking for lamps which are out. No, it took weeks or months to fix things. Now, the second it happens, or even proactively, we get the notification and can dispatch the work crew. These lights are much easier to maintain now. Beyond that, we also can remotely configure and override these lights. If you have a festival in the city, we can change the lighting schedule to make sure the lights stay on and bright for longer. If there's been an accident, the police can phone the center and turn on the lights to full brightness so they can see what they're doing. If there is a part of the city which is prone to traffic jams at a certain time of day, we can make sure that during that time period, the lights are brighter, and we dim them down further outside the rush hour to save energy. These are all things that we weren't able to do before. You installed and you forgot, which meant you always had to over-dimension the system, you always had to give more light that was necessary. But by having this controllable and tunable remotely, we can optimize the city after it's been installed and help save further energy. And of course, all of this we get data on. There's no guesswork anymore in how much energy is being shaved. Each of these luminaires has utility-grade power metering, which is reported back, and we can see live how much energy the city is saving, which enables them to report back on their investments. So what are the benefits for Los Angeles? We're in the process of rolling this out. But what they will have in the end is a greener, safer city. They'll have lower monthly bills, both on the energy but also on the maintenance cost. The city will be a safer place to live and walk in because the lights will be bright when they're needed to be bright, and they'll be fixed faster, so you won't have dead, dangerous zones as lights take time to be repaired. And we're actually rolling this out in 262 different locations, and more are being added every day, both large and small cities around the world. From Los Angeles to London to Buenos Aires. And one of the great things about the solution we've taken is that it's scalable and it's global. Every city in the world has a cellular data network. You don't need special technology. You plug these things in, they connect, and they work. And also, this is something that works even for a few luminaires, because each one is just a mobile phone. It connects to the network that's already there. Other solutions that are out there, it's just not cost-effective to do unless you have a giant megacity. Our solution works from small to big and everywhere in the world. Now let's finish by having a think about what these smart light poles mean for the city in terms of the smart city architecture. And I think this is the way that municipalities need to start thinking about these kinds of investments and technologies inside their cities. Each of these light points, street lights, are something that they have to have. They need. Everyone needs light inside the city. But these light points are perfectly distributed over the city. Every street corner, every road, every plaza or park is full of them. And people need to start thinking about them as a platform. Los Angeles will have over 100,000 internet-connected points spread over the city. Suddenly, the idea of rolling out a distributed sensor network for the city, why would you do that? You can just connect it to these internet-connected points you have all over the city anyway. There is no other product which is so ubiquitously present all around us. Yeah? And as Philips, we think we need to tap more into its potential and let these light points offer more value to the surroundings than just illumination. Thank you.